Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa, hold on. Wait, I've got my camera like super not in a good place. One momento. Let's do this over here, and then I do this, and then I turn it a little bit more that way. Hey, look at that. Okay. Clearly, welcome to a Hobby Night stream. I need to finish getting myself set up during the stream. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who is in chat, to Ben, to the Nightman Nemeth, to Stale XD, hello, and to the two people who, or the one person I think that just subscribed, FJ Huzo, I think is how it's pronounced. Welcome to the channel as well. Today, as you can see, I have one of the big bugs. Before anybody asks, no, I have not finished painting the gaunts, but I have gotten in multiple games of 10th edition. We've been playing some combat patrol games, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. Although I am very convinced that these Space Marines are just, at least in comparison to the Tyranids, a bit broken, a bit overpowered. Not gonna lie. Hello, Kenny. Welcome to the stream. Hope you are having a wonderful day today. So, obviously, we're working on this big boy, and we're gonna be kind of sticking with the same process that we were doing on the Termagants. So we're gonna start with some green, and I have got my striking scorpion green, what we've been using on all of their fleshy bits, ready to go. I just realized I don't think there is a little ball bearing in this to help it emulsify as we shake it. So let me go ahead and get that fixed, because it definitely should have one. If you guys are not familiar, like, you can just buy ball bearings, I think, from like a hardware store, but these are specifically the ones that Army Painter makes, and they just go into the paint, and it allows the pigment to get moved around a bit more and creates better emulsification for your paints, which is honestly really good, because then you just get a more even, consistent coloring, especially when it comes to your contrast paints. I know, Ben, I know that they're DW's golden boys. It's really, like, I've known that, obviously, since the beginning, since I got into the game, but it's one of those things of, until you actually experience the absolute ass-whooping that comes from 7 trucking Terminators, you sometimes don't realize it. It's basically, it's been a little while since I've gotten that destroyed by Space Marines, and I just really feel like it comes down to, at least in combat patrol, like, I can't say this when it comes to playing like a full 1,000 point game or a full 2,000 point game, but when it comes to the combat patrol list for the Tyranids and the Space Marines get 7 Terminator units. Like, or models. They get the captain, who's in Terminator armor. They get the librarian, who's in Terminator armor. And then they get 5 Terminators. And then if you put the librarian with those Terminators, they become incredibly good. And then the Space Marines' power is just broken. Like, their chapter ability, the Oath of Moment, the fact that they don't have to be even close to or have line of sight on the unit that they target with that ability, they can just be like, that one. We don't even know where they are, but we're just gonna know that that's the one that we want to go after. Is a little bit unfair, because, for example, the Necrons actually have one that's kind of similar, but they have to be within 12 inches of the unit that they want to target with the ability, which means that it's super less effective. And again, it just feels kind of unfair. Dr. G. Monami, it is a very lovely evening. I hope you're having a good one. We want to do some battle reports, at least for Combat Patrol for 10th edition. We've been having a lot of fun with it. We've been practicing. So we do have the hopes of doing that. Obviously, I will keep you guys posted on whether or not when that's coming. And it would be done as probably a live stream rather than like a video, like a kind of thing. So it would be, you know, not in here. We would actually get set up in the wargame room, but that would be the idea with it if we did do it. Thor, welcome to the stream. And I totally understand with the jump pack assault marines. Terminators, though, they're very good. Very good in this new edition. All right, let's get started on some green on this boy's butt. So just gonna get a bunch of green on here, and then we're gonna go kind of fast. I'm actually, you know, I use that brush, but really probably want to use this big boy. So I've got one of those like giant base brushes for painting tanks, I believe is what GW claims these are best for. Oh, we also want to pop him off his base so we can get the underside of him more easily. Let's just try to do it without breaking him. You know what? Will this be too big? This might be too big. No, it'll be fine. I do feel like it's actually a little too big. If he was, like, flatter, I think that brush would be fine, but he's kind of uneven, and I'm worried it's going to splatter too much. So let's just go a little bit more controlled. We still don't have to be, like, super clean. We can absolutely do a cleanup step. And more than likely, we'll definitely have to. I will double check on chat here in just a moment, you guys. I am not ignoring you. I'm just trying to make sure that I get this, like, crevasse correct. I think I got everything. Let's put a little bit more into there. There we go. All right. After I get this section done, I'll check on you guys. I really immediately love, just so you guys know, how this is settling into all of his, like, grooves. It is exactly what I hoped it would do. Hello, Andy. Welcome to the stream. Paul, also hello, welcome, and Michael. Both Michaels, actually. I see that there are two of you. You got, see, parts work, you got an eBay lot coming in with lots of old Devourers. Oh, that sounds awesome. Oh, and the old Gaunt sculpts. That'll be fun. There was no resurrection orb when I was fighting the Necrons earlier with the, at least not with Combat Patrol. Maybe in the big games that would absolutely, I agree, be the way to do it. Oh, cool. For the Mythic Americas, which faction are you running within that? Oh, Incan. I'm sorry, I just didn't see the word Incan there at first. Very, very cool. Are you using like a lot of bright colors? Because correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be wrong. I don't remember like the differences between Incan, Aztec, and I know Mayan a little bit better, but I don't actually know the difference between Incan and Aztec as often, so I think I get them confused. Are these the ones with the more like the feather designs in a lot of their like warriors, or are these like a slightly different style? Hello, Mercarion. I am doing well. Oh, Lord 17C. I kind of understand that. I was a similar way. Like, I actually felt kind of similarly about Tyranids. And then I realized that, at least for me, and this absolutely does not mean it's the same for you, but for me, what it actually ended up being is I really did not like the old way that they used to paint. Whatever is it, High Fleet Leviathan? Whatever the main white and purple design that Games Workshop always uses for all of their ads for the NIDs, I was never a huge fan of the old way that they used to paint that. Modernly, I think they're doing, like, they're getting away from it just being stark white and purple and having a little bit more pinky color tones in there, and so I'm liking it a lot better, but that used to really hold me off on NIDs because all of the ads were in that color scheme and I just did not like it. And so it really turned me off on their models. But you can really paint them however you want, which is what I decided to do, and which is why we're going with a, like, giantly bright green color tone. So they look super slimy. Because as a Death Guard player, I need all of my armies to look like, you know, Nurgle sneezed on them. Alright. We are definitely going to have to let this boy just sit for a little bit to dry. Because he is goopy. And I don't want to move him around too much and accidentally risk lifting paint. That would suck. So I think before I start working on his limbs, I might let him dry a little bit. That's fine, it'll give us time to chat. There we go, getting that interior. There we go. I got a little bit of pooling down here, which I am not fond of, so let's try to move that paint around now. There we go, that's looking a little bit better. Chipster, I am doing super well. I hope you are too. And the rest of chat also doing well. Got in a game of 40k this morning. Got my butt kicked. But I actually used all of my army rules, I think, a lot better, which is a big improvement from the last couple times that I've played. So I am taking it as a victory. Even if it's not actually a victory. It's looking good. Okay, I think that is looking excellent. I'm going to just let him sit and dry a smidge. And we'll go ahead and chat. Oh, Michael, Wayne, what did you end up buying yourself for 40k, since you haven't bought anything in a long time? Hey, Captain Discord, welcome to the stream. What Pokemon cards did you open? Were they any good? Was it a good set? Did you get some good pulls? Did you get a shiny? Is it Leviathan? Okay, that's what I thought, but for some reason I was like doubting myself. Oh, is Kraken Bone in red? I thought the blue and red was them, but it's Behemoth. Okay. I need to look at the colors for them. I thought about doing the Behemoth then, because I do really like the blue and red look. Like, I like bright colors together, if you haven't been able to tell that from this channel. I think there's a little bit of excess pooling. And I just want to pull a little bit of that up. While I can. Because otherwise it's just going to take forever to dry. Okay. Yeah, that seems fine. Alright, he's coming together quite well. I'm very happy. Oh, I should close this in case I bump it. Good evening, Michael Gibson. Welcome to the stream. I imagine you probably couldn't look at the table in direct sunlight, Paul, if you had had Imperial Fists versus Nids that had bright green on them. I can totally believe that. Oh, nice! You got yourself a 5th edition rulebook. That's sick. Thank you for subscribing, Blakester. Welcome to the channel. LS Vermin LS, when you ask, do I have any news on After Dark? What do you mean by that? Because no? I mean, all of that stuff tends to be kept over there on the After Dark pages, because YouTube, you know, frowns upon that sort of thing. So if there was going to be any news, it would definitely be on those sites. Oh, Evolving Skies, Last Origin, and the basic Sword and Shield set. Nice! That's awesome. I like the Evolving Skies set from what I remember. Like, if I remember that set correctly, I think I liked it. You got 2 Rainbow Trainers? Dude, that's awesome! The Rainbow Trainers, from my understanding, are, like, pretty valuable, generally. At least that's my understanding of it. Ooh, Kenny, that sounds really fun. Also, Chipster, I'm glad to hear that you're doing a bit better today. Oh my god, yeah. Custodians, especially in Combat Patrol, they have so many, like... So, Chaos Cultist and I were actually looking at it after we had finished a couple of games of my Tyranids versus his Space Marines. And, the Space Marines have, like, 80 points worth of, like, stuff over the Tyranids. Or over the Necrons, I think. And then I think it's like 40 points over the Tyranids. So like Tyranids are definitely not the worst. I have struggled so much against those damn Terminators. Oh, Michael Gibson, that sounds awesome. World Eaters are amazing. The Hispawaiian, you have your starter set from 2nd Ed still? Is it, like, in box on sprue, or do you just, like, or are they built and you just happen to have, like, still have the box? Because if it's on sprue, holy shit. Like, damn. Ah, you played with a store army. Gotcha. That's awesome, Captain Discord. See, I'm with you there. I actually prefer the painting side as well. Like, I don't like the assembly side as much. I'll still do it and I still, like, enjoy it, but I definitely prefer putting the paint on it. Because then they really start to come to life. You know what I mean? Alright, I think we can start working on the legs a little bit now. Because there's really not, I think, going to be a huge amount that needs to get green on the legs. Because he's got so much chitin on his... like armor on there, so let's go ahead and start doing this. I want to get this thing, the underside here. And then I guess like this kneecap? Over here and work on the other side. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to spend some time doing some cleanup. But he is coming together quite handsomely, I think. Actually, this is meant to be purple. So I'm going to try to get some of the green off of it. Yeah, because it looks like it's part of the blade, actually. Whoops. Alright, well, that's fine. Oh my god, in box and still on sprue. Bro. That is amazing. That is so amazing. It does kind of look like a giant tick from this view, doesn't it? I mean, that's basically what he is. Except that he has a flamethrower mouth. He just, like, spits... I guess bile at you? I'm not really sure. It's called, like, a psychic scream. Although the one fun thing on this guy is we do get to paint the Space Marine arm here. That'll be cool. Does he not have the rest of the... I guess he doesn't have the rest of the arm. What a missed opportunity, Games Workshop. You could have given me a whole Space Marine. Or at least a little bit more of one than they did. Rude. Right, I think I'm a little too heavy sometimes on this color. Although I do want to make sure... Okay, I'm more happy with that. Let's move on to the other arm. Why don't we? Just finding a good angle for myself. Oh yeah, there was a cardboard orc dreadnought in the 2nd edition starter box, wasn't there? Dang! That's funny. Let me see how this is working. I didn't notice on the other side that there was like a little groove there. We'll have to check on there. Can we go back? I can't unsee him as a giant tick now. That's definitely what they were going for with the design. And that's looking good. Oh, Baba Yaga's Dancing Hut? Is that from like what company did you get it from? I've seen a couple of different Baba Yaga designs. But I'm not sure I'm familiar with, like, the Dancing Hut one. Is that, like, a Reaper? Is it a, WizKids? Is it something else? Like, is it 3D printed? Chris, thank you for stopping in to say hello. Really appreciate it, sir. That's looking good. Get a little bit in there where I missed on his body. There we go. Oop, and then also there where I missed. Cool. Alright, we're good now. I think his arms and legs are okay. I think that's definitely Chitin. I think. I'm debating how I want to handle this section right here, because I definitely made the ribs on my gaunts just in green. So I'm debating whether or not I should just do this entire underside in green. Hey, Chaos Cultist? Can I ask for your opinion on some paint?
Yes.
So I'm working on the underside, we're working on the green first, and I've run into a debate that I'm starting to have with myself of what I should do with this. Because originally, I was thinking, oh, okay, I'll do this portion in green, and this will end up being purple. But I did on the gaunts, all of their, like, ribbing and stuff on their bottoms just in green, like I did, you know, the rest of them. So...
I would pick a darker color for it, and I would make that same color, the color the same as these little pustule bits.
Okay, well, originally I was going to do those in the pink color tone.
Okay. That's up to you. I'm basing it on the picture that Games Workshop has.
Yes, no, I'm seeing that. So the other thing that I was also thinking is I could do it in green, but then I could actually do a heavier Bielton green and actually deepen it.
You could do that, yes.
I think...
It's a large creature. I don't think you have to hold your large creatures to the same things you do on your gaunts.
Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I kind of like the idea of going with the deeper green.
Okay.
Because I'm worried the pink's going to be a bit too bright, you know what I
Okay.
mean? And I think I still want these to be pink to look a little bit more like they're... So yeah, okay, I think I'm going to do that. Thank you for helping me suss that out.
Excellent.
Alright, good. Then we have a lot more green to paint. I hope you've prepared your butts. We do have a bug problem. We have a really big bug problem. A Tyranid problem. Michael, I understand that completely on wanting to wait for the Free Guild to come out. They do look so, so good. Like, just excellent. Oh my god! Can you bring me some paper towels, please? The computer is fine. I just want to make that very clear. I just dumped water all over myself.
You dump it on the computer?
No, not at all. I brought this up to myself here. I was like here-ish. I squeezed it. The cap was not on. And I dumped water all over myself.
Angela, you have a drinking problem and you have wetted yourself.
I have wetted myself and I have a drinking problem. Good lord. Okay, well, guys, I will be right back. And I'm gonna go dry myself off a little bit. Thankfully, this material actually dries very quickly, so, I'll be right back. I'm sorry. Give me a second. no, take your time. Feel free to do whatever you want. Hello! Wait, hold on. I have to test something real quick. I'm a fool. Hello, everybody! I have now dried my dress a little bit. You know, I'm actually not super upset that now I'm a little bit, like, damp, only because it's actually kind of warm in here, and so that's cooled myself down. Clearly I can't be trusted with bottled water, because I'll just dump it on myself. So instead, I got a different drink. Hello, Stainsby! Welcome to the stream. Thank you, everybody. He's allowed to do whatever he wants in Final Fantasy 16. That is totally fine. It's not a trap at all. Alright, let's continue working on this Tyranid. This time, preferably without dumping water all over myself. It is a Warhammer dress, so just to, like, show it off a little bit, because I'm never opposed to showing off the dresses. Yes, it is still slightly damp. Ignore that, it'll dry, okay? But yeah, it is a Warhammer dress. It's a skater dress, technically. This is specifically a Sister of Battle one. Hence the skulls on the boobs and the fleur-de-lis, I think, on the back. Yeah, see the fleur-de-lis? So, this is a Sister of Battle one. Unfortunately, this company no longer is in business and they don't make these anymore. And as far as I'm aware, Games Workshop has not given the license to their brand to a new legging slash cute jersey dress or skater dress making company, and I'm sad about it because Wild Bangerang, which is the company that originally made this, had some fantastic Warhammer 40k designs, and it's really, really sad. It makes me really sad that they're gone. Well, see, maybe the water would have, like, been extra good then to have dumped on yourself, because then you would have cooled down. I mean, that's kind of what I did. I didn't mean to do it that way, but that's how it ended up working. Oh, dude, it'll be fine. You're gonna have so much fun painting the Manticore. I personally am planning on doing some dry brushing on those wings. I think that's gonna look freaking sick. I'm very, very hyped for it. Alright. Let's get to painting. So I am gonna leave that thing sort of in. Actually, no, I'll make it green too. I have some plants. I think I know what I'm gonna do now. I think I know what I'm gonna do. So this definitely needs to be painted green. The idea is formulating in my head as we speak. I think I also just have really wanted to use Bielton green. Not gonna lie. There we go. That is looking good. Let's get over here on this side. There we go. That's looking great. Oh, nice. What kind of basing textures are you putting down, Andy? I know, Captain Discord. I understand your booze entirely. I also think that we need more cute Warhammer clothes. And listen, if GW could just get off their lazy bums and please give their license to somebody else, that would be wonderful. You know, go to, like, Yeah, black milk will probably be too expensive for them. I don't know. Find somebody, please, Games Workshop. Because, yeah, it is such a bummer. Like, I was so upset when I found out that they had gone under. I'm not even 100% sure what happened to them. But, yeah. I hadn't ordered anything from them in, I don't know, 6 months or so, too. So it's not like I even had... Like, I basically found out that they were going under and went, oh, fuck, I wish I had done an order, like, 2 months ago like I had thought about doing and then decided not to. Crap. Although, from my understanding, actually, when the company did go under, a lot of people's orders just never shipped. And they never got their money back, so maybe it's best that I didn't. Alright, that is looking swell. Now we just need to keep going up his underside. I'm not sure I know who Amberley Vale is. Is that the name of the character or is that the name of the show? I'm assuming it's the name of the character. Lululemon has shit material though. Like, that's the problem, is like, I recently went into one of their shops and I like felt the fabric of their like leggings and stuff, and I was not impressed. It felt really cheap. I do think I'm gonna have this section done in purple. Oh, shit. Hold on. Get the paint down. It's fine. Get some of the excess off. Please don't cool that much. I've got some major cooling happening. I don't approve. There we go. Okay, that's a little bit better. That is a little bit better. Oh, from the Caiaphas Cain novels, the Inquisitor. Okay, got it. Yeah, I've never read any of the Caiaphas Cain novels, so that's probably why I didn't recognize her name. That is super cool. I want to do a lot more Warhammer cosplay. It's just that I am not a sewer. Like, I could not make the outfits myself. And I am also incredibly lazy. Like, I would need to hire somebody to make it for me in order for me to do something like that. Because most of my cosplays are either like just something I can buy, or they are closet cosplays. Oh yeah, Under Armour did do that really cool Avengers line. I would love for Under Armour, like, again, a company that I don't think GW would be willing to, like, would not be able to, like, probably get in order to make their clothing, but that would be super rad. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're now going to paint yeah, I think I want to do that. Make sure that we get up under here. Okay, yes, this is looking good. I'm debating whether or not I want to make his mouth green too, or if I'm going to make that pink. I think I'm going to make it pink. Yes. 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 Alright, let's go ahead and get the arms then. We'll continue working on those. I've heard that, actually. That those are kind of a little bit of a comedy, like, book series with Kaivis Kane and everything. I mean, I only really know this because of, text-to-speech. Like, my experience with Kaivis Kane is purely through text-to-speech, but I know that that is a parody and not 100% equivalent to the character. So I'm not really familiar with, like, outside of that. But yeah, I'll have to check that out, because that sounds fun. Although the fact that it's non-orky, I do like orcs. I've actually not read that many books with them in it, to be fair. Oh, also, Sainsby, your joke was fine. It is not a, although it's not a literal, no, not a literal one. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, that's where I was painting. I was like, where was I painting? What did I need this green for? Okay, that's looking good. I think I'm... Yeah, no, I'll leave it. I'll leave that. I'll leave that. Never mind. Never mind. I'm talking to myself mostly. At this point, I'm just talking to myself. I mean, I'm technically talking to you, but I'm also talking to myself. Conversation I'm having is with myself, at least. Alright, that looks mostly good. Excellent. Let me get up into that joint on that side. Please paint. Thank you. Better. And... yes. Alright, yeah, I think that I am happy with. So we're going to let the green finish drying. And then we're going to do a little bit of a clean... Actually, no, we'll do some BL Con green. Then we'll do some cleanup. But I definitely need to let the underside of him dry a bit first. Here, let me zoom in. Whoop, whoop, whoop. But I think it's coming along pretty well so far. Got our base coat down. A lot of cleaning up to do. So my plan is the part that is a little bit more bone-like is going to end up getting a really, like, not super heavy, but I want to layer up a wash of the BL Ton Green shade on that. And then, depending on... I have some ideas of how I'm going to handle his tentacles. So I do think I'm going to do the tentacles in his mouth in pink instead of green. But all of these spikes, I think I'm going to have end up being in a green color tone to help draw that back in and bring a little bit more of that color to the front of his face, because he will have far less of it here. The other thing that I've also been considering is potentially glazing on some green to the pink after doing a dry brush with white to basically bring some highlights back out, but I'm not sure that will work super well. I'm worried it'll end up muddying too much because I'm going to be using contrast paints to do it rather than like traditional acrylics, so I don't know. Oh, Chris, that sounds fun. What kind of model cars did you and your dad build? Well, 4748X, if you do decide to subscribe, I very much appreciate it. Alright. Oh, also... Oh, I just realized, I know we're kind of into this stream, but I should probably get an ad up on Instagram for this, so one momento. While I'm letting this guy dry, I'm going to grab that link real quick. And in doing so, that'll also tell me how many people we've got watching, because I have no idea. And I would like to say hello. 42 of you! Hello, everybody! Hello, hello, hello. Alright, let me make sure my sound's off. It was not. And I would like to skip that ad. Thank you. Can I share this? How do I share this? Where's my button? Can I close chat? There we go. There we go. I needed to close chat. That was what was wrong. Thank you. Alright. And now... Violetta K, thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the channel. Oh, Chris, that sounds awesome. I've recently started getting into cars a little bit. Mostly in that, I mean, I've been starting to watch a little bit of Donut TV. And it's been really, really fun. I've been enjoying it. I've been learning a lot. I also... So, Chaos Cultist... We recently got a PlayStation 5. I bought that for him for his birthday this past year. And he ended up getting me on it, the Forza game. Like, the most recent Forza game. And I've been having so much fun with it. I am sometimes a shit driver. But... good lord, it is really, really fun. And I kind of... Like, part of me wants to get the setup with the wheel and everything so that I could, like, really drive. Because right now I'm just using a controller. But, like, even that, like, the haptic feedback, very nice. Also, looking at all the cool cars is just awesome. It's the only way I'll actually ever collect cars, because they're just too gosh darn expensive. Alright, I need to go into here. I need to grab this. Go ahead and select that. We'll grab a link. This is the watch a social media content creator work. Join me for the next. I'll just say join me. I'll just say join me. It'll be fine. We'll do that. Oh, that's so cool. Alright, and then I need live now. Live now. We are, in fact, live now. And we'll even use this cute pink one because it goes with the other color schemes that I've done. There we go. Join me. I did it. I forgot to do that earlier. Whoopsie daisy. Oh, Andy, that sounds awesome, too. A squad of Cthulhu Mythos cultists. I have... Dust did officially, like, get retired, did it not? I am so sad. Like, I did a video that covered Dust and kind of explained it a little bit, and then I proceeded to find out, like, a week later after I had made the video that the company was, like, closing down, and... that was probably not going to be relevant anymore, and I felt really bad about it. That was a thing that happened, but some of the models look really cool, and I like that they actually had the option to just go with a fully pre-painted army, which was neat. Oh yeah, there are a ton of Need for Speed movies and stuff, or the series, rather. Dude, I mean, look how many Fast and Furiouses there are. Aren't we on, like, 11 or something like that? It's some ridiculously high number. Alright, he is still not dry, unfortunately. And I missed a little bit of green there. Hold on. Doop, doop, doop. And I don't want to do a cleanup until I know that we definitely are ready for that step. I think I'm going to do the spikes in green for sure, though. Like, I really do think I'm going to do them in green. Well, darn it, Mr. Bugman. Is that? I think there... Oh, I missed some green entirely. Well, fine, we're not done anyways, so he can continue to dry. because I just realized that, one, I missed that there, in that joint. Whoops. This is why you should always do multiple inspections. Oh! When painting. Also, try not to get paint all over your camera equipment. That would be good. That would be ideal. It's preferable. I don't know if I'm familiar with that shade. Is that an Army Painter or Vallejo shade, or is it a different brand? Because I don't think it's Citadel one? Or maybe it is, and maybe it's just one of the newer ones that I'm less familiar with. Alright, let's try this again, and this time we'll try not to get paint where we're not supposed to. And by that I specifically mean on the camera. To be fair, I think I got it technically on, like, the mount for the camera, not the camera itself, so it's fine. It's fine. You can just tell that I'm an artiste. I've got paint everywhere. Alright, there we go. So that now has been taken care of. This needs to be taken care of because I completely ignored that section of green. Okay, that is nice because it's actually bringing a little bit more green around, and that was sort of what I felt was missing. I'm still gonna do those spikes in green, though. Nothing will stop me. Yeah, I totally missed it on both of them, though. I do even think, yeah, that definitely is a weakness. Alright, and then over here... There we go. And then on this side as well. Oop, sorry, I am like a little out of focus and a little off screen. There we go. How's that? Better? Oh yeah, BL Ton, Michael, is my jam. I love BL Ton green. Fix that. That's good. Did I fix all of that? Yes. And I'll get a little bit green into that crevice. And probably a little bit there too, actually. Okay. Now I feel like we're probably decent. Yes, that looks better. Make sure there aren't any other joints that I've missed. Oh, on the underside here. On the interior. There we go. Alright, that looks so much better. And those are not things that I think are going to need the shade. So hopefully his ribs are dry now, because that's really where I need them to dry. I need to just pull some paint out. Okay, that should now only take a little bit longer to dry. Let's check in and see how you're doing. It is a big green belly bug, ready for squishing, except that you shouldn't, because be nice to my bugs. They're good boys and they just want to eat you and consume you into biomass. Oh, Andy, that's good to know. I'm really glad that the rules are still around and like people are still playing it, even though the company may not be properly supporting it anymore. I wonder if it'll be one of those ones that ends up getting picked up and like with a new edition like 5 years from now because somebody picks it up. That would end up being pretty cool. I got a little bit of paint on my, well, I guess I don't really need it anymore. It was the instruction guides for, the Tyranids. I got a little bit of paint on it. Okay, I think we can actually start greening this section with the Bielton, so let's go ahead and do that. This also kind of gives us a way to test it and make sure it looks good before going too much further. No, Michael! Get your raid away from my bugs. They just want to hug you. There's a tiny bit on his butt that just, like, lost its paint. So I'm fixing it. Alright. On to the Bielton green. Alright, we're gonna do this kind of heavy. Just taste it. Oh yeah, I think this is gonna work. I think I just need to layer it. Like, I don't know if you guys can tell super well here. But I do like the difference that's coming up. But I do think it's going to need multiple layers. Which is okay. I can deal with that. I also want to be kind of careful so that I don't end up getting it onto the actual bulbousy, more fleshy part so that it doesn't end up conflicting with it. Yeah, definitely gonna need multiple layers, but this is working. Also need a little bit more paint. Oh, well, James, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. Well, I definitely think these kinds of painting skills are super achievable by pretty much anyone, because I really don't think I'm doing anything super complicated. So please, feel free to follow along, give it a try yourself. Even if you're using different colors, the concepts tend to work the same. Alright, yeah, definitely gonna need that second layer, but I am loving the direction this is going. Let's hope I'm still saying that after the second layer. Alright, I'm gonna let that dry, because I really do want to test... I'll build this up a little bit more gradually than what that was looking like. Alright, there we go. Alright, so we're definitely gonna, like, let him dry, and we're gonna test this in a moment to see how it looks like. They do want to hug you with their mouths. I mean, really, they want to hug you with their spiky tendrils. And then wrap you up, you know, give you a nice hug in them, and then slowly wrap you in their mouths as they just, you know, suck you in that way. That's really how it wants to happen. Michael D, my first Warhammer character that I ever, like, a character that I ever painted... It was not Pedro. I was about to say that it was, but it actually wasn't Pedro, because I don't think I built him. I don't actually remember what my first character that I painted. I think it must have just been like a generic like Space Marine captain or something like that. I don't think I like painted anybody named very fun. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, Chipster, I hope the updates from the family were positive ones and that everything is alright. Well, I do like Cool Mini or Not's games, so I will have to keep an eye on that, Andy. That sounds cool. That would be really, really cool, actually. How many bugs do you think your Legion ATST could kill? I don't know. What do you think the weapon strength on their guns are? Because that's really the tough thing there. Is because like the Tyranids can be pretty tough sometimes. They're not like the toughest army in 40k by any means, but they can be pretty nasty little bugs. I'm going to say, well, okay, you know, actually, here's a better thing. How many do you think that they could kill of the bugs from Space Trooper? Or is that what it's called? Space Trooper? One moment. I need to look up and make sure that I am getting this correct because I'm now questioning myself. Starship Troopers. That's what I was trying to go for. Starship Troopers. Yes, thank you, Chipster. I don't know why I was going Space Troopers. I think that's because, like, isn't that what Stormtroopers were called before they were called Stormtroopers or something like that, or something? I don't know. Whatever. The point is how many do you think of the bugs from Starship Troopers do you think that the ATST could kill? And then that would probably be the equivalent, or possibly less than, of the Tyranids, because as far as I know, are the bugs in Starship Troopers psychic in the same way that Tyranids are? I don't know, some of those nids are fast, man. They may not be able to. Maybe the specialty guys could, but give my nids some credit. They're good boys. All right, let's keep working. I can't work on the bottom of his belly anymore, but I can work on his chest, because that looks like it's finally dried. So let me get a bit more Bielton green. Flip this boy upside down. I think holding him like this will be optimal. There we go. Get all the color into the crevasses. All those little grooves. That's fair. I definitely think it could be a few too, but the problem is Tyranids come in, you know, millions. They aren't just few. They are literally hordes. So if you don't know if you don't think it could survive long, it may not be worth taking it out against the bugs. I don't know. The Imperial Guard also sometimes struggle with the Tyranids. In lore, sometimes they just get mowed down, and I just imagine that might be happening to your stormtroopers. But I could be wrong. Maybe you just have, like, the best aiming stormtroopers ever, and they murder lots of them. It's just Tyranids are pretty much endless. Or at least they claim to be. And they don't actually claim anything because they don't speak, but, you know. They are just a lot. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Actually coming along quite well. I'm happy with where this is going. I need to get a little bit of dark green on this side because I didn't. Go. That is better. We will definitely want to enhance that. Alright. Okie dokie, okie dokie. I think we can start spreading some more dark green around on here. It's looking dry. Yes. Yeah, I think that's looking good. That's starting to look really good. You've only missed putting on some green paint onto the Tyranid, letting that dry, and then all the conversation that happened with that, but thankfully you'll be able to go back and watch the stream again later, afterwards, for anything that you may have missed, so don't worry too much. Have them. It should be fine. They actually have the Tyranids speak, really. I hadn't realized. Is it just in short stories, or is there like a main storyline that does that? Because I always thought like part of what made them so terrifying is that they didn't communicate, and it was just literally eldritch horror screaming at you. I think I'm gonna end up repainting this, and that's gonna end up being pink. Yeah, that's definitely gonna end up being pink. Yeah, I just need the Bielton to dry, because I need to do like at least... I'm personally thinking at least 1 or 2 more layers. I think it needs 2. Because I want it to be... when you're looking at it on the table, I still want you to be able to see it, and then it to stand out and be like, oh, it is definitely a different color from... or a deeper version of this color than what I did before. And I am liking how it's starting to have a subtle difference. You can especially see it like on the ribs. That's looking good. I definitely think they would eventually be overwhelmed. Yes, because they do... Yeah, Tyranids are often used ambush tactics. Like, they have infiltrators, you know, things with stealth that can go in. Definitely. They're also just an unending horde that has one objective. Consume everything. Because, I mean, Tyranids just convert a planet into biomass. Suck all that biomass back up into the main hive fleet, and then ship that biomass off to the next planet, regurgitate it all up, and that's how you get these boys. And every other Tyranid is they just get regurgitated, from my understanding, and like formed on the spot, so they can be reconfigured. From my understanding, that's at least what I thought how Tyranids worked. Yeah, see, I didn't think that Nids could speak. And I didn't know if that when they did, because like I have heard other people say that there have been short stories where some Tyranids have communicated before, but I didn't know if that was like what level of communication that really meant. Like, were they able to just like throw emotions out there and like communicate in that way, or was it literally psychically, I'm gonna tell you words? William, I barely won my game yesterday with my Tyranids against the Necrons. I won by 5 points because I got, I think, a little lucky in just when I was able to score something. But otherwise, yeah, it was a little tough. It was still a little tough. I'm still learning the army. I haven't quite got all of the rules down pat. He is gonna take forever to dry, isn't he? I really do need to get like a blow dryer. The problem is if I were to end up getting a blow dryer and then using it on stream with you guys, I mean, I guess I'd have to mute myself because otherwise it would just be like in your ears, and I don't know if you'd really want that. It may, like, that's entirely possible. I completely believe that it could be, like, an early story. Maybe back when they were still deciding whether or not they wanted them to be psychically able to communicate with people or not. Because, yeah, I actually, like, just thinking on that a little bit more, actually, I thought that was part of the reason that you ended up having the Genestealer cults, is because, like, that was sort of the mouthpiece for the Hive fleet to speak through. Okay, I know the specific areas that we're going to end up doing the dark green on, so while we're waiting for the BL Pawn Green shade to continue drying, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Gray Seer and start cleaning up the areas that I know definitely are having no more paint near them, except for, you know, the next colors that actually need to go on them. So let's go ahead and do that. I think that sounds like a good idea. That way also I don't feel like I'm twiddling my thumbs and doing nothing while we're chatting. I think I have way too much paint on my brush. There we go. Yeah, because we definitely want to get all of these really cleaned up so that we don't have any green underneath our purples. I had that happen a little bit on my Termagants as I've been working on them, and bothered me a bit. I gotta do a little bit of cleanup now. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, Ron Stringer. Stinger? Nope, Stringer. Excellent. I did say that right the first time. Go me. I think Exterminatus is still a thing in 40k. I don't know if it's like an actual rule anymore, specifically. It might be in, Apocalypse, maybe. I know you can table people again and win that way in the game again, now with 10th edition. Not bad. Cleanup's going well so far. Also, let me know, by the way, how you guys feel about the music. I decided to go with something a little bit different this time, because I wanted something a little bit synthy, and I hope you guys have been enjoying it. Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was more of a lore thing than a rule, and yes, Exterminatus in that case definitely still exists. But I thought, like, I wasn't sure if there was a rule like that in, like, Apocalypse, because I've not actually played many Apocalypse games. And I could definitely see that being something in such a large format game like that. Wonder if they're going to end up doing a new Apocalypse version now that we're in a new edition. Because didn't they have one in, like, 8th was the last time they announced Apocalypse rules. I'm not sure they're relevant anymore. Alright. That's looking pretty good. Let's grab him here. He's got one little spine. It's like not connected to the rest of them, which is kind of weird, but it's cool. Oh, never mind, it is. I just didn't realize that was all painted green inappropriately. Whoopsie daisy. I am also looking forward to the new epic scale. I never tried the old epic scale. So like, it's not because I'm excited to compare or contrast them specifically, but I've never tried painting models that small before. So seeing them really excites me. I am very intrigued to try a game at that scale. I've never played anything that small before. And yeah, it should be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. There we go. That's great. Now to fix up this side. Nice. That'll be really fun to do a comparison of that, James. Oh yeah? What makes you say that the 2nd edition epic was better than the 3rd edition epic? Just, I guess, generally better rules? Like more balance, do you think? Is that really kind of what you're getting at with it? Oh gosh, it's stuck on my ring. There we go. Alright, we will need to come back to this once it is more dry. And keep working on cleaning that up, but for now, it's looking good. It's looking relatively smooth. Which is really what I'm looking for. I just want it to maintain smoothness. I think I know what I'm actually going to do on these little bauble things, and it's slightly different from what I had discussed when Chaos Cultist was in here helping with color choices, but I think it's still going to work out really strongly. There we go. It totally does! No, and trust me, Michael, I would not take that the wrong way. That was what I was kind of going for. I wanted him to look a little bit toxic, a little bit slimy. So if he is looking a little Ghostbuster slime-like, I'm okay with that. Oh, I'm sure they do look nothing compared to the new ones. That doesn't surprise me at all. Custodies are so strong in 10th edition. I mean, Custodies are just strong in general, but my goodness. Brush control is definitely like the thing that I think can really up your game when painting. Just to speak to that a little bit. And by that, I don't even mean necessarily not being like shaky-handed or anything like that, because like, you see how much like I am shaking a little bit? I don't know if you guys can actually, but there's minor trembles and everything, because I always get nervous when I paint, because I don't want to fuck up. But like, I just mean knowing when and when not to put more or less pressure on your brush, because you could be like, I don't want to do it on him specifically, but like, here's the top of my paintbrush. You could be doing something where you're like, all right, I want to be really delicate, so I'm going to barely touch this. But you don't want to be like, when you're doing, really just hard on your brush bristles and then slam it down and then spread paint the way that you don't want to. So like, having control, being able to like pull lines. It's something to practice, and I would highly recommend it if you do feel like you don't necessarily have the best brush control. Just pulling straight lines, not even necessarily like, you can use paint, but you can also just like I would recommend getting ink to do this. Although the contrast paints might be okay, but like, it would just be one of those things where, a little bit. Oop, my light died. Hold on, let me plug it in. I just rolled my paintbrush in paint. Oh my god, all sorts of bad things are happening. Hold on, I'm going to turn my light back. There we go. Hello, Hari, welcome to the stream. Alright, what was that? Oh yeah, I was gonna show you guys. So something I used to do in college when I was studying comic books is we would just pull lines. And I find it really helpful for just gaining a little bit more control with your paintbrush. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm just going to use my palette as an example. Gray's probably not the best color. Although you guys, I don't know, will you be able, you probably won't be able to see this. Hold on. Let me get a different color. Color that I barely use. Shook. Hello, Sean. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a great day. My pot's almost dead. All right. There we go. You'll be able to see this. But yeah, literally what I used to do is I would just practice this. Let's see if I can... And I would just pull straight lines. Now the idea with this, what I was actually trying to practice, was feathering, which is a technique that I actually think probably could be used on miniatures, and I'm sure some content creators and people out there probably do this when doing certain types of designs and everything. But what I was practicing was called feathering, and that is on comic books. When you see like speed lines and everything and they come to a really fine point, you'd want to have like a wider tip and then like pull it down. But see, that helps you practice control because you want more pressure and then less pressure. Pretty neat. I really, really like it. I think it's kind of a fun, just like little exercise to do if you are ever, like, especially for freehand. If you ever want to get into freehand, it might be like a fun exercise to do just to help you get more familiar with like pulling patterns and those kinds of things, or even straight lines in a freehand method. That was my little art lesson while we let this boy dry, which it actually does look like he is more dry now. So let's get some more green down before we continue our cleanup, and we are going to continue working on his belly. You do that for highlights on hands? That makes total sense. It's definitely a skill. that takes some practice to get used to. One moment, I am getting a call. I don't know from who, so I will let that go to voicemail, and if it's important, I'll call them back later. Oops, sorry, I'm off screen a little bit. Oh, Sean, thank you for the tank fund. I really appreciate that, sir. You are, as always, quite wonderful. Yeah, Mike, if you're left-handed, you should still be able to pull lines without any problems. You would just need to do it with your left hand and maybe pull the paper a different direction or so. But yeah, I had plenty of left-handed friends who, you know, were artists and were able to do that kind of stuff. So I don't think being left-handed is necessarily going to prevent you from doing it. It might make it a little bit harder just because you might smear your ink. That might be the challenge, I suppose, and I am not 100% sure how to address, but definitely should still be doable. At least I would hope so. Alright, that is looking really nice, although we are desperately out of focus. Let me zoom out. Is that still really out of focus? What is happening? Focus camera. Is it because I have this paint pot in here? What is going on? Okay, yeah, I think it was that paint pot. Note to self, don't have paint pots sitting on screen when trying to focus. It apparently screws things up almost as much as text does. Oh, that sounds great, Sean. I'm so excited for you. Are you doing that for fun, Michael? The painting your 15mm tanks, or are you doing it for like a big project that you're working on? Also, I just gotta say I'm very happy with how this dark green is coming out. So I'm glad I decided to do this. Go me. Go me. I do need to get some more Bealton greens in. Because I just used the last of it. Ah, very cool. I almost picked up some Flames of War tanks recently. I saw a new starter set that was out for them at my friendly local game store, and it was for like some German tanks, and I was like, ooh, that sounds fun. And then I was like, no. We have other things to paint and work on. Tyranids are about to come out. Don't get distracted, Angela. But it is something that I'm thinking about for the future. I think I need to do a bit more here. Yeah. There we go. Alright, that looks good. Now let's go ahead and start on some more of his chest. Thank you, Andy. I also think it's looking really good. I feel like he's looking properly buggy. Yeah, that's looking really cool. Had a little bit of something that looked like it could overspill, and I didn't want to risk that. I don't know if I remember what the difference between like the late war Shermans looked like and what the earlier ones did. I'll have to look that up. Alright, that is looking spectacular. I'm very happy. Let's do the other side, although I do need a bit more Bielton again. What thickness of Tamiya glue do I use? I use their, what is this stuff? This is what I use. I use their extra thin cement. But be careful. Danger, extremely flammable, harmful vapors. Please make sure to use this stuff either with proper masking if you don't have good ventilation in your house or the space that you're working on this in, or with open windows so that you have proper airflow so that you're not poisoning yourself. What Warhammer 40k tank is based off of them? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm still not good about remembering exactly what the different is in the shapes of some of the tanks. And so while I can identify some of them, when I'm just visualizing them in my head, it's kind of hard. So an equivalent would be Swell, or else I'll just look it up online. You smoke cigars? Well, Sean! No, then you cannot use this glue. I forbid it. This is going swimmingly. I really like how this is coming along. Wait, really? The Tamiya airbrush cleaner is also the extra thin glue material? Wait. So if I could... Does that mean, in theory, I could, like, spray the thinner or the cleaner through the airbrush onto something plastic and then be able to stick stuff to it immediately afterwards because it would be the glue equivalent? Because if so, that seems really dangerous. Like, yes, this is the Psychophage. That's what the big boy that we're painting right now is. It's the Psychophage. I'm really okay. I need to grab Chaos Cultist to let him see this because I'm actually quite happy with it. Really? Damn, I did not know that. That also genuinely makes me a little terrified. No, I'm gonna do the top with a brush. I am still a chicken shit when it comes to using my airbrush. I've used it like 2 or 3 times. I really like it. But I also feel like I don't have a lot of control, and I feel like I have a lot of control, or have developed a lot of control over time with my brush, so I get nervous. Oh no, brush cleaner I don't think would do it, but they're saying that the airbrush cleaner does. I'm surprised. The Sarah Games, what do you want me to test with the spew? I missed... Also, I'm glad that you ordered a pizza. And some gluten-free chicken nugs. Nice. Well, thank you. I appreciate that you think it's looking awesome. I'm pretty happy with it so far. Leonardo, I completely understand that you might be a little nervous to get started on your miniatures. I will fully admit this as somebody who has been painting for many years. I still get mildly nervous when I go to start on a new miniature because it's a little daunting. You're applying color to this really cool sculpt and you're like, oh my god, what if I fuck it up? But here's the thing. If you fuck it up, you can always fix it up and try again, and it's really not that big of a deal. And I even saw, I think it was through Luis, where she like cleaned up a plastic miniature without trouble and got paint off of it. So there are definitely ways where you can like start over from scratch if you really feel like you mess it up. But my biggest suggestion is just to go for it. Like, give yourself a try. Like, maybe if you don't want to start specifically on like a big model like this, start with your gaunts. Do something really simple that has a lot less detail to sort of get yourself familiar with not only the color palette that maybe you want to work with, but also just with what it is like to paint these types of textures and these types of units. And then work your way up into the bigger stuff as you start to feel more confident. Continue to watch tutorials to give yourself an idea of techniques or things that you can try if there's like an idea that you have but you're unsure how to execute it. There are tons of ways for you to learn, and I really am excited for you. I hope that you enjoy working on your very first box. Like, this is super cool, and I hope you have so much fun. You're gonna try your airbrush on the body color. I completely understand that. Oh, on empty sprues, Sarah. I got you. That makes total sense. Michael Wayne, what glue do you use? Because I am all for, like, I love Tamiya's products, and, like, I will continue to use their weathering powders like no other, and I really do like the extra thin cement paint because I do like the brush tip equivalent, or the, brush tip applicator, sorry, that it has. I'm going to burp, I'm so sorry. Alright, I did it. It's fine, I made sure it was quiet. But the toxic smell is kind of annoying. So I would love to know what you use, especially if it also has a handy-dandy brush tip applicator like what this does. You know, this nice little flexible applicator. Chipster, I think you should paint something fun. I know that does not help. Oh my god, I opened that and it immediately smells. Like, Jesus. Alright, I am going to take a very brief break. I'm going to go show the Nid. Yeah, no, I use hand tools for all my weathering and details on painting as well. Definitely not using an airbrush for details. I do want to start trying to maybe use it for, like, bigger things, like tanks, for example. I think, there's a couple of, like, larger Space Marine tanks that we want to get painted up for the hobby nights, and I think it'd be kind of cool to get those primed up. Maybe using the airbrush for that as well, but then getting the base coat of, like, Blood Angels Red over it, just with an airbrush, because I can just clean up all the stuff that I don't want to be red, and then they'll just make it super easy, and it'll be probably very even. That's my hope. So, we'll see. Alright, I will be right back. I am going to go let the Chaos Cultist take a look at my Tyranid, but I don't want to interrupt his game, so I'm going to pop out to the other room. One momento. Hello, I have returned. Alright, I'm very happy with where that is. I don't think I need to darken it any further. And I'm going to go ahead and keep working on the cleanup. I do need to change my brush water though, because it's very green, and I don't really want all of that green to show up in my primer color tone and make it still green, because that's literally what I'm trying to remove with the primer. So I'm going to step away one more time. We are actually going to go a little bit past 3 o'clock today, so don't worry if you guys are like, oh no, she keeps leaving and we're about to end the stream. We're not going to be ending the stream quite at the same time. We'll probably be going a little bit longer because I'm having a good time with this. I want to at least get the cleanup step done. And honestly, I might even go grab some of my gaunts and start working on them again as well, because I still have a butt ton of purple to paint on them. So I'll be right back. I have returned. But I didn't bring my damn water. Alright, well, that was silly. Thank you for subscribing, SwitchGod67, Lorenzo Phelps, and Lee Frenny. Also, Captain Discord, have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you have a good one, and we'll see you next time. Alright, we have fresh water, which is good. Let's go ahead and get some paint on our palette, close that up, and keep going. Yeah, I'll probably go until either 3:30 or 4 o'clock today is probably where we'll be going to. I do have one errand I gotta run, but I figure we could go for a little bit longer. Especially since we aren't going to be having a Saturday stream at all, because I will be at a convention. I'm very excited for it. So that should be rad. But it also means I will not want to be streaming. Morning, Okami! Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good first start to your day, sir. Alright, I think that is fully cleaned up. I am going to paint this back over because I want it actually to be in pink instead of green. Just to have it stand out a smidge more. Do I actually want to do that? Hold on. Yeah, no, I do. It'll kind of blend into it. That'll be the idea. Might also do it in yellow. That could also work, but I think I'm gonna go with pink. I am going to open sauce. If you've heard of that. This is its first year happening. So, I would not be surprised if you have not heard of it, but I am very much looking forward to it. It is, more of like a, it's not exactly a content creator con, but it's definitely it's being put on by a content creator. And it's got a shit ton of people within, like, the maker and science side of YouTube going to it. So, like, Mark Rober, I think, is going to be there. Colin... I don't remember his name off the top of my head. He built a... Hold on. I'll just look. I'll just look. There's a list. They have a website. I don't know what type it's going to be specifically because I've never been to one like this before, but it's like a... Let me just look up the people who are going. Open sauce. It's a celebration of makers and creators. A 2-day event at Pier 35 in SF. It is completely sold out. I bought my tickets ages ago because I saw that a couple of makers that I really like There's actually a lot of makers that are going to this that I really, really like. But there was one in particular that I saw them do an announcement that they were going as a guest, and I was like, holy shit, that's so cool. And if you guys are familiar with Evan and Caitlin on YouTube, they do a lot of resin-based projects, but a whole bunch of other things as well, and they have an adorable cat, which they build things for all of the time. And I really like their content, and they announced that they were going, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's actually near me. Let me see how long of a drive that would be and where this is actually going to be. And I was like, oh, that's totally doable. So yeah, I was like, this is amazing. But just to give you an idea of who's going to be at this con, because dear God, it is a list. And also, hello Diggs. Welcome to the stream. So, Michael Reeves is going to be there. The Backyard Scientist is going to be there. Mark Rober is going to be there. Alan Pan is going to be there. Colin Fruse is going to be there. Nerd Forge is going to be there. Jabberlis is going to be there. Dr. Michelle Wong. Lab Muffin Beauty Science is I think her channel. We've got William Osmond who's going to be there. Jake Laser. Unnecessary Inventions. Code Nico. I Did a Thing. Nile Red. Electro Boom. Ruth Amos. CNC Kitchen. Emily the Engineer. Odd J. Estefan Annie. Code Bullet. Evan and Caitlin. Tom Santon. The Hacksmith. How to Make Everything. Ren. Luis Wees. Grady Hillhouse. Becky Stern. James Burton. 3D Printing Nerd. Cody's Lab. There's literally like an entire whole big ass group of them. That's not everybody, okay? But it's gonna be a huge amount of people at this thing, and I'm very excited to be going to it. Both because I like a lot of them, like so just of the people that I specifically am like actively watch and am very excited to see, Michael Reeves, The Backyard Scientist, Rober, Alan Pan, Colin, Nerd Forge, William Osmond, I Did a Thing, Nile Red, Electro Boom, Evan and Caitlin, Code Bullet, Hacksmith, Ren I like a lot, Becky Stern I like a lot. I don't know this content creator actually, but he's called Explosions and Fire, and that actually sounds really cool, and I suspect I might like his content creation a lot. Let's see, we've also got Tyler Bell, which I think I've watched a little bit of. I think I've watched a little bit of Technology Connections as well. I've watched a bit of Peter Brown. So like, yeah, there's, oh, and Zach Friedman is going to be there as well. So that's going to be really cool. Styro Pyro is going to be there, which will be awesome. I hope he brings lasers. Yeah, there's so many people. There's just so many people, and I'm very, very excited. Oh, that'll be really cool for you, Okami. Going to PAX Australia, I'm assuming? That sounds awesome. Dude, I would love to go to a con in Australia. That would be amazing. I mean, I really would just want to go to Australia at some point, because it sounds cool. And also, I want to hold a koala bear. That's the thing I can do there, right? Can I hold a koala bear at a sanctuary or something? Are they in sanctuaries? I don't actually know. I just want to touch a koala bear, please. And also get terrified by all of your big bugs. Maybe I'll be less terrified by them because I run Tyranids now. Ooh, banana spiders. They're so big. He is... I really like his stuff. I don't know what he's bringing, if anything, but, like, if he brought his, the thing that he made for... Was it Apex Legends or something like that? I can't... Oh, no, Warframe. It was for Warframe. He built this, like, contraption for Warframe that basically was anti-gravity, and so that you could basically do, like, superhero leaps and everything and, like, land really softly without completely destroying all your bones. And I want to try it so badly. Like, if I ever met him in real life and I could do any one thing, that would be what it would be. Although I'd also love to see the absolutely insane tunnel that he built from like his house underground to his workshop, I believe is where it goes to. Just absolutely bonkers. I sometimes thought I had ambitious projects, but no, no, no. Not until I started watching these creators. And then I was like, oh, geez. Engineering projects are rad. And I do not have the brain for them. Sorry, I'm totally a little off screen. Yes, there's gonna be, like, those are just the people that are going. That is not just the stuff that's actually, like, going to be actively there. Because we're gonna have, like, battle bots, and there's gonna be, like, a rally race, and, like, a couple other things. I think so the event itself is actually being put on by, I just want to make sure I get his... so William Osmond is actually the one putting the show on. It is his baby. And so there's going to be a whole bunch of things. And apparently he has gotten a battleship that we're going to be able to have lunch on or something. And I'm excited. I am really, really excited. Like, it's probably going to be one of the coolest conventions potentially that I've ever gone to. And I'm excited to be there for the first year. Is looking actually pretty nice. The tail looks fully clean. A little bit more water on my brush. Okay, well that's fair, Sean. Maybe I do have the brain, but I definitely do not have the time or energy for it specifically. Not that I don't try. I mean, I do, like, I mean, that's why I watch the engineering videos. It's because I want to learn some of the stuff, but I just don't know if I have, like, the space or time to do the practical application. Oh, that's looking good. Hopefully that's not too thick. Oh, well, thank you. I just understand that it's also not good to put myself down. In the same way that it's not good for you guys to put yourselves down or anybody else to do the same to themselves, because it's just negative energy, and who wants that, right? That's looking clean. Do you want to clean up that thing a little bit? Itching my ear, sorry. I'm gonna whack my headphones off really violently. I'm really surprised, actually, that I haven't gotten paint on these headphones yet. Wait, Sean, really? You actually built you build bridges and parking structures? That's so cool. Also, like, nerve-wracking. I would be so nervous if I was, especially building a bridge. Because I'd be like, what if it broke? I mean, I guess you trust that your math and your engineering is correct and such, but, like, I'd be so nervous. But I'm an easily nervous person. Ah, I see. I gotcha. I understand. Well, regardless, that's super cool. Dude, I think that's what we all wish we had, is the time and funds to be able to learn all the things that we want to learn, right? There's so many cool things that, like, are out there for us to try, but just not enough time. It's one of the reasons I am so grateful that I get time to do the hobbies that I do get to do. You know? At least they are still very fun. But yeah, so that'll be where I'm at on Saturday. And I think Sunday. I think it's both days. Can't remember now if it's a Friday and Saturday event or a Saturday and Sunday event, but I think it's Saturday and Sunday. And I'm probably going to be exhausted on Monday, but it'll be fine. I'll just have a live stream to talk about because Games Workshop is having their Ogrim live stream, which I'm a little confused by the way that they worded stuff on the community site on whether or not we're actually seeing new miniatures from the faction that won, or if I, like, misread that, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said. In which case, I'm expecting to see new Space Marines, which makes me... I mean, I guess they'll be fine. I want to see new Tyranids, though. I just don't think the Tyranids won. I just think they're not as strong, I don't think, as the Space Marines. That fucking Oath of Moment rule, man, it just... It's so OP! I wonder if it's gonna end up being nerfed a little bit. Like, I really feel like it needs to be within, you know, 12 inches, 18 inches, something like that. Like, not just a wherever the hell they are on the board, you can mark them, even if you can't see them kind of thing. I don't know. I'm just bitter because I lost to it. That's all. It was used tactically well against me, and I'm just bitter about it. Looking swell. Oh no, Chipster, I'm so sorry. Are you having clouds today? I hate cloudy weather, especially when it's not actually raining. It like literally brings my mood down. There is something, like, weirdly gratifying to me about doing the cleanup step on a model. I think it's just because I like seeing the very crisp, clean edges before it's full. Like, if it's not fully painted, then I want it to seem clean and partially painted. Or partially painted, and like this step really does that for me. I think it's because it still feels intentional, because of how crisp it would be. My shoulder just cracked like, whoa. I don't know if you guys heard it, but I felt like it was super loud in my ears. I will absolutely try to give Martina a high five for you. I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to meet any of them in person. I didn't shell out for that ticket type where I could actually meet somebody, because I would have, like, Martina, like Nerdforge or Evan and Caitlin, I think were the two that I'd be most interested in. But honestly, no, there's a lot of dudes that I'd be willing to meet from that group. Just to, like, I don't talk to them in person. It'd be strange. But, oh, Sean, I am not, no, I'm not scraping away extra paint. What I am doing is I am using some Gray Sear. So my base color that I primed everything in. I have a pot of it here, and I am re-priming the sections that I have not painted yet. So like all of these areas here, all of this big chitin, you'll notice, like, for example, on like here, on the underside of his belly. You see how I got like a bunch of paint here? All I'm doing is I'm going in and I'm cleaning up all of that overspill, because I know the colors that I'm going to be using on some of these sections are going to be either very, very pale, or if they overlap with green, they're going to make a brown color tone, and I'm trying to avoid that. I love her diorama work too. I haven't watched a couple of her more recent videos. I kind of come back to her. Like, I'll watch a bunch of things all at once, and then I'll step away for a little while, let them produce a bunch more content, and then come back and binge it. That's how I watch Nerdforge a lot. And she has some fantastic designs. I also like that she is a strong mix of both painter as well as maker, which is just always very, very cool. I need more paint, but I also want some of this. If GW gave us Korax, that would be amazing. I would buy him. I would pick him up. Oh yeah, you've never done a cleanup step? It is my favorite thing to do, because it's basically how I maintain relatively clean lines even when using contrast, is because of this step. Although you just don't see me do it on camera very often. But that's one of the reasons that I like doing these streams, because then you guys can see like the full process and like how I'm painting. And this step is time consuming. Like, I will be diligent here, and especially like mindful of making sure that I did not miss anything, because this can really, I think, make or break the cleanliness of your paint scheme, which may or may not be something you want, but at least on this instance I definitely do. So yeah, I'm just going in, cleaning up any of the splatter that may have happened, any of the places where my brush touched where I didn't want it to, or I had a little bit overspill because I was just being sloppy, but I knew I was going to be doing the steps, so that's why I was okay with being sloppy. There's definitely no reason that you need to play the game or even paint things in order to hang out with us, though. And I'm very glad that everybody has been very welcoming. Yeah, never feel like if you guys don't do hobby stuff yourself, and don't feel like you can't watch. You are more than welcome to. I completely, like, I can't do chemistry, but I'm sure as shit gonna still watch Nile Red all the time. And watch him turn, you know, chemicals that should not be edible into things that you can consume. He's made like, I don't remember what exact chemical he turned into grape soda, but he has made grape soda with a non-food materials. It's insane. Oh, I definitely recommend it. Yeah, on tanks especially, it works really well. It's a great way to just maintain a certain crispness to your design, like I said. Alright, I need to work on the underside, I think, a little bit more. Yeah. This step is, by the way, when I was talking earlier about like brush control, this step is very important to have some brush control. Because you don't want to be too sloppy when you're doing your cleanup and end up getting your primer paint back on the areas that you painted the way that you wanted them to be. So just something to be mindful if you do decide to try this in your own techniques at home. Do make sure that you're being a little bit delicate and use a brush that you're comfortable with when you're working on smaller things. Like, I'm pretty comfortable continuing to use this much larger tipped brush, but if you felt like you needed something smaller in order to feel like you had more control, then I would definitely recommend switching to whatever makes that easier for you. But I would also recommend trying to use larger brushes when you can, because if you just get really controlled with your weightiness of how hard you're pressing your brush to the object that you're painting, you can actually pull some very thin lines with a fairly thick brush. And that way you're not having to spend a shit ton of money on buying a bunch of different sizes and also only ever using those super tiny little brushes that just takes forever to deal with. Yeah, you definitely don't need to play or paint necessarily to enjoy the hobby at all, and definitely not to hang out with us. That is for sure. You'd be surprised, Sean. You'd be surprised how much you can get done with a larger brush, even when you have like larger hands and everything. Like, I understand what you're saying, but I would genuinely encourage you to just give it a try. Like, get a piece of paper, get a larger brush, do like pull lines. You weren't here when I was showing it. You see these lines here? So I was pulling those just with some paint on this brush. And this is how you can help learn control, because the idea with these, and I'm just going to go over this one more time, because I think it's actually very important. I'm going to get a new color so that I can just go back over top the areas that I already did, since it'll be the ones in camera. Let me dry that so that I don't have too much water. Oh, Chipster, no! That dastardly feline! This happens to me all of the time. So sometimes something that I do, and I don't do it as often as I used to, I will give you, but I used to do this a lot in college when I was studying comic books. One of the things that we would do to help ourselves get better inking our comics and being able to pull all those cool like speed lines that you see in graphic novels and other comics that you might be reading is we would practice feathering, is what the technique is called. And it's essentially what you're seeing right here, where you start larger and then you end up going to a smaller point. And by doing that, you're having to learn control of pressure. Now, obviously, my bristles are starting to get very frayed on this one, so that's why we're getting these kind of shrieking. But that's the idea, is just to practice pulling a feather. And, you know, you just do that a little bit, and over time, it starts to help you get control, because the idea that you're looking for is really just to have, at that point, consistency of the feathering. And if you can do that, then you can start playing around with different pressures and all sorts of things. And I actually think it's a really good, very helpful, just practice tool for people. None of your business? I am doing some painting. We're working on a Tyranid. We've gotten a little bit of color on him today so far. I'm working on the cleanup stage, so I've got a bit of green in places that I don't want it, so I'm going to go back over with my primer color, get all that tidied up, and then we'll probably go ahead and end the stream shortly in, like, I don't know, either 15 minutes to 45 minutes. I haven't decided yet. And yeah, that is the plan today. Well, awesome. What are you painting? No problem, Sean. I hope it helps. I probably would, Diggs. I have not experimented too much with freehand on my models, but I plan to, coming up with the new free guild that's coming out for the Age of Sigmar set for the Cities of Sigmar, and then I also obviously want to do some freehand work on my Bretonnians when those come out for Old World, when it finally returns. God damn, I want it. I want it right now. I just want my Tomb Kings and I want my Bretonnians. I just want them. I want to smother them. And then hopefully not break them, because I would also like to paint them. Well, thank you, none of your business. I appreciate that. What specifically are you working on painting right now? Are you working on something Games Workshop, or are you working on a different game system or board game, or tell me about it? I completely think that would be a great idea, Chipster. This is a fun one to work on, I will admit. Especially with contrast. The contrast just flowed into all these. Like, I love what's happened on this. Like, love it so much. Thank you for subscribing, RailFan74. Welcome to the channel. You were watching a good hobby YouTube video earlier with a chap who used to work for GW as a product designer. That doesn't surprise me. A lot of people have left GW to go to YouTube, ended up doing stuff there. Get in here and start working on cleaning up these legs, which are going to be a little bit more difficult to reach everything because they're slightly in odd shapes. But I think it'll be okay. looking pretty nice. Some down here that we need to take care of still. There we go. Ooh, that sounds really awesome, None of Your Business. I love the color scheme idea. I'm a big fan of pink and purple, as well as mixed in with some black and white, so I am totally all about that. Sounds lovely. Ooh, that's gonna be so fun, Chipster. I can't wait to see what your Psychophage ends up looking like, especially with the metallic green idea that you've been talking about. That's gonna be so much fun. Oh, all the... You mean like the Games Workshop brushes are all the same? That doesn't surprise me. I bet you could, none of your business. I bet you could paint some of these. Ah. I do imagine painting left-handed might make it a little bit more challenging, but I bet you could still do it. I believe in you. Oh no! Sarah, I'm so sorry you have thunder. Oh, well, that's at least good, though. If the rain helps from some of the fires, that will be very good. Oh my god, Chipster, that sounds like an amazing idea. I love the idea of painting your Marines like Starship Trooper schemes. That would be so cool. That makes sense. That in no way surprises me. Although recently, I've actually only been using these ones from Citadel. Their new synthetic line. This is actually not a Games Workshop brush. This is the Parado brush. Which is a watercolor / acrylic. It's a fine arts company. Paint. That's what I need. I didn't know what I was doing anymore. What is this stream for? What are we doing? We're painting. Everything's fine. Let's be delicate about getting back here. There we go. All right, that is looking pretty nice. I'm not as worried about the inside as much. Now let's work on the outside. Because this is where it's gonna matter. This is where it's gonna matter if we see the green the most. Good. You know, I have never tried weasel hair art brushes, actually. I have tried Kolinsky Sable, and they nice. But I mostly actually use synthetic ones, or a mix. I'll do a mix of synthetic and non-synthetic. I have found in my experience, because of how I know personally that I treat brushes, that spending the extra buck on getting something really extra nice like a Kolinsky Sable, which are quite expensive brushes, is not worth it to me, because I just won't end up maintaining them the way that those kinds of brushes need to be maintained. If you don't want them to fray or split, they require a little bit of extra maintenance. You definitely want to have specific brush soaps for this, and preferably one that you can kind of leave as an leave-in conditioner. And I just don't think, I have not found it to be worth it, because I have still been able to get plenty of detail out of like my Escada brushes can range between, actually I don't know if it says on here. No, it does not. I want to say these brushes are between, the smaller size ones are like start at like $20, and then the larger ones like this, I think this guy was like 38 or so dollars. I could be wrong on that. Don't 100% quote me, but like I want to say that is around the price of the brushes that I tend to use, like the Escada at least. But I bought this brush, this literal brush that I've been using today, like 2 years ago, and have not felt the need to replace it, because the tip still works great for me. Because I've maintained it, I've kept it like, you know, clean, and I always make sure to rinse it out when I'm finished. And while it is beginning to fray a little bit, I still am not 100% convinced I need to replace it yet. And that's why I don't bother getting the really, really expensive ones, because I always feel like I fuck up their bristles and feel like I need to replace them to really get them to do what I need them to, way more than I do these cheaper ones or these like medium priced ones. Because like this isn't cheap, but it's also not Kolinsky Sable expensive. So yeah, that's just on me. Oh, Chipster, that is awesome news. I'm really glad to hear that your father will be discharged from the hospital on Thursday. That is excellent. I'm really happy to hear that. I know that was nerve-wracking, I'm sure, for you. Oh, Diggs, that sounds amazing. Your Mars display is going to be made from recycled dollar store items. Perfect. Sounds like wonderful. Exactly. If you maintain something, you take care of it, it'll definitely last longer. That is for sure. That is true with most things. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Cheap brushes have their place, and especially if you do have a thing where you, like, either are unable to clean them because of difficulty in doing so, or you just know that you're going to be especially, like, lazy and just not get around to it, because once you're done painting, you're like, I'm done, I don't want to do anything with these anymore, I don't want to touch the brushes, blah, 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 blah. Then, yeah, getting cheap brushes and just being able to replace them, definitely the way to go about it. But if you do have either the opportunity or the willpower to clean them and maintain them, you can definitely buy some like decently priced brushes, not overly expensive, and then just keep them for years. At least in my experience. All right, we have a little bit more. You know what? Yeah, we'll go a little bit more. We'll do a little bit more cleanup. I think we're mostly done on this side, although there is a little bit on this interior here. We might need to go back over a few things. Again, we really don't want the green showing up if we can help it, where we, you know, don't want to actually see it. Because it will stand out against the purple that is going to go on here. Pretty good. That's looking pretty good. I think this one side might almost be done. I'm going to flip it one angle, and I'm going to end up finding something that I definitely need to still paint over, but I'm feeling temporarily like it's almost done. All right, there we go. That fixed up. Oh, and then there's some. The chitin wraps around. Let's take care of that. Okay, that looks better. I am holding him by his little hands, and I squeezed and I felt them flex, and I had a panic moment that I was gonna break it. I'm glad I didn't. I would have been very upset. I would have been very, very upset if I had broken this big boy. Oh no, Chipster, the cat just decided listen, I am here. I am laying down, and there is nothing you can do to stop me. Because if you move me, all hell will break loose. There's that. I noticed a little bit of green from this angle. Again, I knew that I was going to find some. That's looking good. All right. And this needs another coating for sure, because it is got a little bit of green still showing up. Partially because we used all the BL Ton green down here too, so it's definitely darker. There we go, that's looking lovely. There we go. Yeah, I suspect that that's probably the reason why you may have had problems with your brushes when you were younger, Halfman. If you did not treat them super well, or if you just had like kids style brushes, they had those things, kids brushes are some of the worst brushes you could possibly work with, and there's nothing wrong with doing so. I just mean, like, in regards to, they don't keep their their tips very well, because they're not really designed to have tips on them as much. They do like these weird cutoff things, although they may have gone better. I actually haven't looked at like a kid's product that comes with brushes in like ages, so grain of salt, I suppose. But I remember from when I was a kid, the children's ones were garbage. Like, I'd never used them. Even like as a kid, I was like, no, I don't like these. Give me something better, please. And thankfully my parents were kind enough and bought me separate brushes. And then that's how I got into art. Not exactly, but like that's part of it. Michael, have a good rest of your night. Thank you for hanging out with us. You're not going to be missing that much because I am probably going to call the stream here shortly. But yes. They do. Although, what I will say, kids' brushes are actually really good for, just to speak that out a little bit, stippling. If you want to do textures or, like, rough, like, I mean, really just textures. If you're looking to do texture, get kids' brushes. Because you can, like, clip them, you can cut them, you can make them at weird angles, and they're stiff as shit. So you can, like, really do some cool stippling or scratch work with them. It's really fun stuff. Good night, Michael. Have a good evening. Yeah, they just don't put tips on them. They, like, cut them off at, like, instead of doing a nice tip, they'll, like, snip them. And then you'll have, I think they're trying to give kids the equivalent of, like, a round brush, but they're doing it badly. Mostly because they're cheap and they don't care. They're like, this is going to, you know, a 6-year-old or whatever. Alright, I'm going to get a little bit more work done with the paint that I have left, and then I think after that I'm going to call it because I need to run to the pharmacy to pick up... Actually, no, not the pharmacy. I need to run to the pet store, that's what it is, to pick up my kitty's food. Because he is low, and I am sure he was going to start screaming at me in roughly 22 minutes. He will definitely start screaming at me in about 22 minutes if I do not feed him. So I should probably head out and go get him food before that happens. Or else he'll be very, very hangry. He'll be the hangriest kitty you ever met, which just means he will scream at the top of his lungs, really stressing me out. Because he'll act like he's dying. Oh yeah, you do need to be a little bit careful with some of the foam brushes, depending on what type of glue you're working with though, because certain glues will melt those things, so be careful. But like Elmer's glue and stuff, yeah, foam brushes, if you have a big swath of area, you're putting like a bunch of Elmer's glue down because you're about to put a lot of like gravel or something because you're doing a big diorama scene. Yeah, those sponge brushes, fantastic stuff. It will destroy them though. You will not be able to use them for anything else outside of that. And you may not even be able to use them again a second time once they've fully hardened because the glue will just cake it up and make it a rock. Well, if you want something that's gonna go well with yellow, purple is the complementary color to yellow. So that could absolutely work. You could do something like that. I also think that you could do a just really warm color palette. So you could do yellow, reds, and oranges if you wanted to. I've seen some cool stuff done with like yellows and blues before. So you could do something more in that line if you wanted. You could also go like a yellow-green route. So you could do like a lot of nice yellows, but then also have a lot of yellow-green color tones or darker green color tones to complement it. I think that could definitely do well. Yeah, it won't melt it, but once it dries in the foam, it will harden it. Yes. Also, makeup brushes are very good for dry brushing. Yes. They are roughly, like, especially those rounded ones and that are equivalent to the, like, army painter style. Any of these sort of soft tipped brushes work really well as dry brushes, and you can get some really cheap ones through makeup companies. Absolutely. Ah, yeah, see, Sean, I do that sometimes too. I do have a spray bottle for glue that's diluted with a little bit of water for when I was doing a little bit more diorama work and really mostly just like terrain work. That was the thing. All right, I think I am going to go ahead and call it because like I said, I need to go and grab my kitty's food because he is low. I need to get these brushes cleaned up, and then honestly, I should probably start thinking about what the heck I'm gonna do for dinner as well. So I really appreciate you all joining me today. Thank you guys so much for being here. It was lovely to have you. And for those of you that are watching this later on demand, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, perhaps subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications. That way you'd never miss when we go live and you can hang out with us while we're actually doing this and everything. But in the meantime, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful rest of your days or nights or mornings, depending on where you are in the world. And I will see you next time. Bye.